Welcome to Ports and Palaces podcast. It is April 29th, and today we'll be looking over the Disney Destiny.
Good morning, everyone. We have new details about the Disney Destiny, and I have a feeling this is going to be a quite popular ship. People have been begging for villains, and this is Disney's way of kind of giving it to them before Villains Land begins, so I'm so excited. We're going to start with some basic facts about the ship, and then we're going to go through the main highlights of the ship and what sets it apart from other ships in the Disney Cruise Line fleet. So just a little tip here, we are only really going over the highlights of this ship. So what makes it different, what's come out as far as exciting details. We're not going to go through every pool it has, every lounge it has, because that's not different. It is part of the Wish class ship, and so it does have some very similar layout designs to those ships. So I suggest going back and looking at our episode. It was episode 3. So go ahead and look back at episode 3 of the Disney Cruise Line fleet in general. Go find the Wish class. It's going to be towards the bottom because it's one of the newer ships, and you'll be able to find information about the whole class ships, what they all have in common, because we're not really going to be going through the Destiny in like a comprehensive look right now. But all that aside, let's move on. So some basic facts about the Disney Destiny. It is the Wish class ship. Its inaugural date is November 20th, 2025. So right around Thanksgiving, which I thought was interesting. You know, a lot of people are off then, so we'll see how that shakes out. It's going to be sailing from Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. So not Port Canaveral. It's not going out of Port Canaveral. Yeah. Usually the newest ship goes there, but I get they have the Treasure and the Wish still over there. So I guess they decided to try out Fort Lauderdale. They just got a new terminal in Fort Lauderdale that's all Disney-fied, so I wonder if they're trying to make like 2 main hubs of Disney now.
Is that a lot farther down?
It's about,
it's
very early for me to be thinking distances, but I think it's about an hour and a half away from Orlando. You look it up. It's going to be doing 4 and 5 night cruises, and the cruise itinerary is a little variable, but typically it's going to do Nassau, Castaway, and Lookout. Nassau and Castaway kind of float back and forth. So it could be Nassau Lookout or Castaway Lookout, or the 5 night does do all 3, but it looks pretty consistent that it always stops. Lookout Key is almost always going to be its main stop. The stern character is Spider-Man and his Spider-Bots, and Captain Minnie is the Beau Art.
So just to cut in here, I just looked it up, and that's actually 200 miles from Port Canaveral. That's quite a drive.
So yeah, you can fly into Orlando and take the Brightline train.
True.
But yeah, that would be a big drive. You'd have to get into Orlando a couple days before your cruise and then drive down to Fort Lauderdale. Most of my clients just fly into Fort Lauderdale. The stateroom categories are pretty consistent with what you would see across Disney Cruise Line. You've got your standard inside rooms, your ocean view rooms, your veranda rooms. These are your balcony rooms, and they do have navigator verandas, which are like obstructed views. And then they have extended verandas, which are really nice. And then concierge has a whole lot of categories. So you have ocean view category, veranda, concierge, a 1-bedroom suite, a 1-story royal suite, a 2-story royal suite, and then the tower suite. I'm jumping ahead just a little bit, but the tower suite is themed after Iron Man, which is pretty cool. It does really look like his apartment. We've been rewatching the Marvel movies, and we joke constantly about how his house just constantly gets destroyed.
And then rebuilt.
And rebuilt somewhere else, and then they build the Avengers campus somewhere else, and then it gets destroyed, and they rebuild it. And then stateroom themes. Some of these have been announced, but I had to do a lot of digging to find all of the stateroom themes. So this may be some hot tips for you. Stateroom themes will be themed to Hercules, Merida, who's from Brave, Big Hero 6, The Incredibles, Raya and the Last Dragon, Fantasia, and Mulan. So Disney has only publicly announced Hercules, Brave, and Mulan. So those other ones are going to be themes, but Disney has not come out and released artwork for them yet, but I have confirmation those will be themes in the Disney Destiny. So I do also have plugs to know where those rooms are. So if you're looking to stay in the Big Hero 6 room, I can help you narrow down where exactly that room is. So good travel agents can help you with that. There is also accessibility rooms if you're needing that. They're not as labeled as well until you drill down into different categories, but they are there.
Some of the main dining areas include the Pride Lands, Feast of the Lion King. Now, this has a really energized show. The costumes are very elaborate. You can clearly tell who's a lion and who's a jackal and who's a hyena. Stuff like that. It
doesn't look like just performers.
Right.
Like they're just kind of performing, because on Frozen, the Frozen show that's kind of like this on The Wish, obviously you've got characters because they're face characters. Coco has some of the characters from the movie, but it's really supposed to be like just a retelling, so it doesn't have all those characters. So it's interesting that they made these like lions. So that's interesting. I like it. They're really playing into that, and that's very cool.
Next up is 1923, explore animation and elegance in the Walt and Roy side of the Disney dining room. Then there's World of Marvel. I'm super excited about that one. Guardians of the Galaxy show, Groot. That's cute. That is currently being shown on the Disney Treasure.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll only be the Groot show, because it's 4 and 5 night sailings. So 4 night sailings are 3 main dining days and then Pirate Night. So I'm wondering with that, if you're only going to go to Worlds of Marvel once, if it's only going to be the Groot show. So some background, Worlds of Marvel is on The Wish, The Treasure, and now The Destiny. And on The Wish, it does a show that is not as well loved by people. They think it's cute, but it's not everyone's favorite show. And so when they announced the Guardians of the Galaxy show with Groot for The Treasure, people were so excited. And then it kind of came out later as time went on that it was going to be, because The Treasure does 7 night sailings, so you go to each dining room twice. It was that the first show was going to be the Ant-Man show, the original, and then the second one was going to be Groot. So people were like, okay, well, we get to see Groot. But for them to say, this is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy show with Groot, I'm hoping that means it's only going to be the Groot show, because some people are not going to get to see the second show if they do Ant-Man. So stay tuned on that. I'll be definitely keeping an eye on that, because we love Guardians of the Galaxy and Groot. And if it's only that show, that makes this ship even more exciting for me.
As far as Broadway shows on this ship, Hercules is actually a debut. This has a lot of fan favorite songs and ballads, Go the Distance and songs like that. I think by far the coolest part of it is the Hydra. It's, it rolls out and it's got multiple heads. And
I'm already a little
like
nervous
that.
about taking our daughter there.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, you can't really like watch these shows before the cruise, which most people don't want to. They don't want to be surprised, because it's illegal to record these shows. But we sometimes like to try to preview things before we take our daughter. She's easily spooked. And so looking at this, like for Chad and I, were like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. But I'm a tad nervous. Now, Disney is a family friendly cruise line, so I doubt it's going to be
that scary,
that bad. But the Tale of Moana and the Treasure has just become renowned. I've heard so many clients are like, oh my gosh, that's the best show I've ever seen, including everything on Broadway. And they always talk about the puppet of, not Taka, Tafiti?
Yeah.
Tafiti, yeah. And they're like, she's just beautiful. I don't know how they make this larger than life puppet. It's just amazing. So I think that Disney's kind of leaning into that, and this Hydra is going to be made out of like puppetry. But I mean, it's taking up a third of the stage.
Yeah.
It's huge. And it's probably just movie magic, but it looks like it's extending into the theater. Yeah. So maybe don't sit in the front row if you want to be able to get the full scale of the puppet, but that's so cool.
If you are a concierge on the ship, you won't have that problem.
You can pick wherever you want.
Pre-assigned seats.
I know. Concierge.
Yeah, reserved seats. Anyways, returning shows will be Disney Sees the Adventure and Frozen, a Musical Spectacular.
Yes. So Disney Sees the Adventure is also on the Disney Wish and the Disney Treasure. That is like their Wish class show. And then Frozen is also on the Wonder and the Fantasy.
Yeah, it's on a lot of ships from what I've seen.
Yeah, and we liked it, but it's not our absolute favorite.
If anything, I really liked Aladdin on the Fantasy.
Yes. Aladdin was good.
So the Grand Hall on this ship actually has 360 degrees of interactive lighting, depending on what Disney character is in the Grand Hall, which is crazy.
Yeah, so we're seeing a picture of Loki in the Grand Hall, which we'll talk about him in just a minute. but the lights all around are green. So the idea is like when a different character comes in, those lights will change. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, Spider-Man comes in, it might be red, or Iron Man might be like gold. Like, so it's going to kind of really, they're trying to play into like the Grand Hall being this living body that will kind of interact with people, will interact with characters. So this is a really cool aspect. They haven't done this on any other ship. So I'm really excited to see how they play into this.
So the statue in this Grand Hall will actually be Black Panther. It will have a black base finish with silver and purple accents.
Mm-hmm. If you follow Disney, I think it was Disney Cruise Line, which makes sense, on Facebook or Instagram, they did a story about this and he looks so cool. Like it looks like a real life person on this statue, which all the statues are beautiful, but they definitely look like statues. This looks like Black Panther. The silver and purple accents really help shine the light on him. And it looks almost like a real person just standing there. It's very cool. So I think the Grand Hall is shaping out to be just fantastic. Next up, we're going to move on to lounges. Again, there are a lot of lounges. I didn't mention Cafe Merida and Megara. Did I say it right this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are just little kind of walk-up lounges. They're not really even lounges, I would say. They're like walk-up bars, but they serve coffee and alcohol and things like that. Nothing's really come out about them. They're more just little side walk-up bars. So we're going to go through the three big lounges. So right off the Grand Hall is DeVille's, which is themed to Cruella. It looks
I'm so excited.
Cool.
Super excited.
The piano that's looks like a Dalmatian. I mean, this just looks elegant with just a touch of sass. I really like it. It's very cool. There will also be a walk-up component for takeout cocktails, which is interesting that they noted that. The actual drinks themselves look really cool. I'm liking this one that has, I'm sure it's some sort of steam, but it looks like black ice is like making it fog up. That's really cool. You can't drink black ice, so I'm not quite sure how that's working, but it looks very cool. Then you've got Cask and Cannon, which is themed to Pirates of the Caribbean. And I pulled a direct quote from Disney Cruise Line. It says, guests can enjoy an extensive menu of spirits and brews, some served straight from the barrel in true pirate style. The tavern even features an eclectic mix of treasures, including nods to the classic attraction. So that was kind of interesting. Is it served straight from the barrel? Like that's going to be a themed cup? Like you can buy like a barrel themed cup, or are they going to have big barrels of alcohol that just, so I'm interested to see that.
Right.
Another lounge we're going to talk about today is the Sanctum, which is themed to Doctor Strange. And a direct quote from Disney says, guests will be dazzled by the mystic art of mixology through entrancing tableside beverage experiences. So part of me was really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this where they're going to do the beverage tastings, the beverage things like that, tableside beverage experience? And then I feel like Disney does a lot of word things. Like they're really good at entrancing people with words. And then you get to it. I really feel like every bar or lounge has like this special drink that, you know, they lift up and smoke comes out or something like that. And I feel like this is their way of just saying like some of the drinks will be cool and they might, you know, have some sort of tableside when they lift the lid. Like it's not going to be mixology.
Yeah, I agree. So a lot of the items on the drink menu and the food menu have a lot of show, but the atmosphere itself seems a little bit lacking. Maybe they'll add to the Sanctum. It just doesn't seem put together very well. I feel like they just refurnished it to make it look Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So for people that know The Wish and the Treasure, this is in the same spot as the Bayou, which has the beignets, and the Skipper Society on the Treasure. And those are just well decorated. So I see what you're saying. Like this is obviously artist rendering, so it could look very different, but it does look like just a nice place to hang out before or after dinner. The food looks interesting. I see what they're kind of saying about the entrancing mixology. It does kind of look like I was saying, like it's just going to be fancy drinks that they just bring to your table and you go, oh, and then it disappears and you just drink it. The stuffed waffles look interesting. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and hear how people like that before I buy that.
Is it cream cheese or what is it?
So it looks like this lounge's like big food item that people are going to want to get is the stuffed waffles. Looking at them, they don't look amazing. They look like something that was frozen and then you kind of pop in like it looks like a Pop-Tart, like without the
or an Uncrustable but waffle.
But like without the cute frosting. Like it just, I don't know, it doesn't look It doesn't look amazing. So stay tuned. We'll try one and let you know if you need to have one or not.
DeVille's proved me right. Sanctum proved me wrong.
So before we move on from lounges, the Haunted Mansion parlor bar that's on the Treasure will also be on the Destiny. So that's really cool. So if you are not really to the point where you can pay the price point for Treasure, but you liked the idea of the Haunted Mansion bar, that is also on the Destiny.
So nothing really announced on this, but the kids clubs, we assume, will include, it's a Small World nursery that's standard on any of the ships. There's also the Oceaneer Club and Lab. That's also pretty standard. What are also standard are the Edge, so think kind of
11 to 14-year-olds.
Yeah, like tween age. Vibe, a stack above that.
Yeah, so the I think it overlaps at Edge, so it's also 14 to like 17 for Vibe.
Yeah, so high school basically.
We don't have one of those. So.
And then the Hideaway?
The Hideaway is new for the Wish class. So 1820 Society used to be on the older ships, and they would just kind of do activities. So it was called the 1820 Society. But when the Disney Wish was debuted, they actually have now an area where they can hang out, and that is continued on the Treasure and the Destiny. So Hideaway is for your 18 to 20-year-olds. You're not quite adults, but not really kids. So they go and do activities there, which is really cool.
That's cool.
Not much different on the pools. So for the most part, this is going to mirror the Disney Wish and the Disney Treasure. So you've got your Fab 5 pools, Toy Story Splash Pad, and the T-Rex slide. I'm missing what it's called right now. The something Tyrannosaurus something slide. Moving on. You've got your Concierge Sun Deck and pool, and then your Quiet Cove pool and adult only area. The new thing though is the Aqua Mouse. The actual Aqua Mouse itself will run exactly the same as the Wish and the Treasure, but it is villains themed. So Disney says guests will embark on a trek up the seemingly ominous villain mountain, singing a silly song as they face fearsome foes before splashing back down on this crazy water coaster ride. So definitely playing into the villains. I can kind of see Mickey and Minnie getting into some trouble. I think they're just on a great little walk and they're up, singing a song as they're walking up the mountain and encounter some sort of villain, which sounds fun.
So the slide we were trying to mention is called the Slidosaurus Rex. Yeah.
Slidosaurus Rex. It was going to come up there somewhere. But that's it for pools and water activities.
Special dining includes Edna a la Mode. It's a specialty sweet shop with ice cream, cupcakes, all kinds of different pastries, and all that jazz.
The cupcakes look interesting here. I am not a big fan of Disney cupcakes. It's just a lot of icing. But there is one that looks kind of interesting. It looks like it's probably chocolate, but it's got some peanuts around it. So some of the little bit of savory. So I'm excited about that. One of the statues is Edna Mode holding an Jack Num Num cookie. And so it would be a great disservice if Disney, who just makes these amazing chocolate chip cookies called Jack Num Num cookies at Disneyland and Disney World over in Hollywood Studios, if they have a statue of it in this specialty sweet shop, but don't actually have one in this specialty sweet shop, I'm going to be so mad. That is a huge missed opportunity because they already have a product that works really well that's themed to Incredibles.
Yep.
So they better bring it on this ship. Thank you. Dear Disney, thank you.
Signed, Kirsten.
Yeah. And then adult dining, you've got Palo Steakhouse that's for brunch and dinner, and Enchante for lunch and dinner. So those are adult only. Those are an extra cost.
So characters you may have the chance to interact with are Loki, who will, through his mischievous ways, be trying to take over the vessel. He will be interacting with the guests in a lot of different fun ways, doing tricks and
I'm a Loki fan, so I am excited.
Yeah, get ready for him to talk down to you, though.
That's fine. That's what makes him appealing.
Cruella will actually be hosting a fashion show. Ooh, will that be in the Grand Hall or something?
It didn't say. I mean, I would hope that it would be in her lounge. That is her space. But I would also love to see Cruella just walking around the ship, to be honest. So I'm up for whatever.
But she will also be talking down to you in a more specific way. She'll be critiquing guests on their fashion choices.
Yeah, This makes me wonder if it's going to be like traditional Cruella or if it's going to be like the Emma Stone Cruella. Emma Stone Cruella kind of came out in Oogie Boogie Bash for Disneyland. So I don't know, with them kind of really leaning into fashion, I don't know if they're trying to show like it's going to be her. Obviously not Emma Stone herself, but that character. Obviously, people love the iconic Cruella, so I'm hoping it's that one. But also, she's gonna love my mom attire, especially on a cruise of yoga pants and Disney t-shirts. So she's just gonna rip me a new one. But
I bring you the roll out of bed, Dad.
Yeah, like you're on a cruise to relax. Just leave us alone, Cruella. Leave us alone. Cruella will also be having guests help her rewrite her horribly inaccurate song. So I want to hear how she feels about her Cruella de Vil. So I'm excited for that part. You'll also be able to find Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. He will be around showing off dazzling parlor tricks or sleight of hand. And the direct quote from Disney was, "Guests can join him for a game of chance with nothing to lose." So that sounds really fun. Little magic acts around the ship. And then Maleficent will be in the Saga Lounge,
which is actually the family lounge on board where a lot of different activities are hosted throughout the trip.
Yep. And it says she might be performing spells and incantations. So that sounds fun. All right, so that was a quick and easy episode today, just to give you some highlights of the Disney Destiny. I'm super excited to see how it all comes together, and trust me, I will be nerding out over every little update with you. We will also keep you updated on any major releases that come out.
Thanks again for joining us on Ports and Palaces today. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you really enjoyed our episode. We've loved interacting with everyone on our socials and can't wait for all that to come.
Until next week, I'm Kirsten.
And I'm Chad.
Happy travels from all your ports and palaces.
This podcast is sponsored by Ports and Palaces Vacations. Whether you are wanting to check out a new port along a cruise line or see the palaces of Disney and Universal, our travel advisors make your dream trip a reality. Your next trip is just a click away.